You're cold too. What did she say?
That's exactly.
A few minutes.
Several years ago, as I mentioned, and what do you do with the child?
Yeah, trust me.
I'll put that right in there with. Hello, George. Right there, all right there. See some little lake covers here? That's what I got the front page for you. One of those graphs, that's what you're
That's my next thing.
Oh.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. You'll be pleased to know that I got the microphone to work today all by myself. Yeah. Once again, don't tell me my 7 years of high school didn't pay off. Well, it's a real pleasure for me to welcome all of you again to our Thursday afternoon meeting of the Rotary Club of Tyler. Welcome, one and all. And we won't be meeting next week due to Thanksgiving. So before we get going real fast, I just want to take this time to wish all of you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving. This to me is a very special time of the year. Thanksgiving's perhaps my favorite holiday. Again, folks, please turn your cell phones off. Make sure mine's off. And at this time, I'd like to invite for our national anthem and pledge of allegiance, Ms. Donna Kroom, substituting for her husband, Bill Kroom. Donna, come on up here.
Yay, Donna.
Some big hand for Donna, and everybody please rise. There you go, Donna.
You're welcome. A girl, good to see you.
Good to see
A girl.
Oh, he just white. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. By the dawn's early light, once so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched, burst together we stream, and the rockets red glare of our thirsting ear, they grew in the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. And now for our invocation and introductions. Please welcome Claudia Carroll.
Woo, Claudia.
Yes, Claudia, it's your turn now. You look like you were stunned when you heard
I
it.
am stunned. I did not know it was me. So
It's you, yes it is.
Okay. All right, so this will be off the cuff. Lord, if you would bow your heads, please. Lord, thank you for this time of fellowship together, and thank you for the Thanksgiving that we are having next year. We are so blessed here in East Texas and in our club. We've enjoyed good health, and we pray that as families come together, that you will protect them in their travels and keep them healthy. Lord, we ask that you bless our first responders and our troops overseas protecting our freedoms. Lord, we ask that you bless each and every one of us in our businesses. We ask that you bless this food to our bodies and our bodies to your service. We ask this in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so take a seat. And do we have any Rotarian guests anywhere in the room? Raise your hand. Okay, I'll start here on the right side of the room for guests. If you have guests, please stand up and introduce your guests back here.
I'd like to introduce you guys to
entrepreneur, and she's starting a business doing wellness and vending machines.
Okay. Healthy vending machines with healthy options. Okay, because usually health and vending machines are together. Okay, so very good. Okay. Well, welcome to Rotary. Pleased to have you. How about anywhere in the center of the room? Any visitors? Left side of the room?
I have, my old horse friend, Willie Tyler. And he moved to Florida, and I brought him up here for a couple of weeks to help me get organized. So this is Lynn Young.
Okay. Anybody else? Front table visitors? Okay. Bill, back to you.
Good job, Claudia.
Good job, Claudia, good job. Okay. Vicki Conway, she already left. I was getting ready to thank her, she already left. Yeah, well, we'll just get to her next week. Our greeters for today were Denise Miller and Robert Finney. And also, we had another greeter today, one of our guests who was just introduced, Lynn Young. And I know she said you're an old horse trainer, but you look good for a man of your years, okay? So, yeah, all right. And next up, let's welcome Paul Glasser for This Week in History, my friend.
Today, the 18th of November, 1883, in response to the speed at which things were then able to move via rail, which is a lot faster than a horse, and confusion as to the departure and arrival times of trains and stations along the way, the major railroads of the United States and Canada adopted a standard that divided the North American continent into 4 standard time zones. Until then, time was determined at each locality by the peak of the sun at high noon. Enormous confusion on railroad timetables. The zones were designated Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific, as they are now. And the lines the railroads drew were essentially unchanged from 1883. Local governments have almost immediately adopted the railroad time zones. The U.S. government, however, didn't adopt it until 1918, when the Congress put the time zones into the administration of the Interstate Commerce Commission. On the 19th of November, 1863, having been invited almost as an afterthought by David Wills, a Pennsylvania attorney, charged by the governor to take care of the dead following the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, Abraham Lincoln delivered a 269-word, 2-minute speech at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The speech contained the phrase, "The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here." In fact, the world has little noted famous orator Edward Everett, who delivered a 2-hour speech that preceded Lincoln's address. On the 20th of November in 1945, trials of 24 Germans accused of war crimes and atrocities attendant to World War II began in Nuremberg, Germany. The trial continued until October 31st of 1946, when 12 of the defendants were sentenced to death. 7 received prison sentences ranging from 10 years to life. 1 was judged mentally incompetent, and 1 committed suicide while in custody. The 11 who were executed, one of those that committed suicide was set to be executed. The executions took place on October 16th, 15 days after the conclusion of the trial. On the 21st of November in 1980, everybody here pretty much will remember where they were. An estimated 350 million people worldwide tuned into the CBS television network to at last find out who shot J.R. That question entered the American lexicon following a cliffhanger episode of the TV series Dallas in March 21st of the final episode of the season. Those 350 million viewers learned that it was his his former mistress, and the sister of J.R.'s wife who pulled the trigger. And if you're that damn, there we go. And if you're that damn dumb, you deserve whatever happens to you. On the 22nd of November,
What was the character's name? Whose daughter? What famous real life daughter.
You know, I hated that show, so I never I absolutely hated that show.
So the character's name was Kristen.
Okay,
And, she was the daughter, her real life, she was the daughter of Bing Crosby.
okay. We'll work them. Thank you, George. So you watched the show?
I did.
Okay, all right.
Couldn't miss that show.
On the 22nd of November, 1963, looking around, just about almost everybody will remember where they were. On a campaign swing through Texas that included a stop in Dallas that many of his inner circle strongly argued against, President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed while riding in an open-top limousine in a slow-moving motorcade shortly after making the 135-degree turn from Houston Street onto Elm Street in downtown Dallas in front of what was then the Texas School Book Depository. On the 23rd of November, 1936, the first issue of a revamped Life magazine hit the newsstands. On the cover was a picture of the Fort Peck Dam. It was the first publication under its new look for Time magazine owner Henry Luce, who had purchased Life magazine out of bankruptcy. And on the 24th of November, 1963, 46 hours and 51 minutes after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Dallas nightclub owner Jacob Rubenstein, better known as Jack Ruby, shot and killed accused assassin Lee Harvey Oswald in the basement of Dallas City Hall. Oswald was being transferred from the Dallas Police Jail to the Dallas County Jail, less than a mile away. The transfer was being televised live on the NBC television network, and it became the first ever live broadcast of a homicide. Birthdays in the coming week. Today, actor Owen Wilson turns 53. Meg Ryan turns 60 tomorrow. Joe Biden, President Biden, turns 79 every day of 79 on Saturday. Goldie Hawn turns 76 on Sunday. And Jamie Lee Curtis turns 63 on Monday. And that's this week in history.
Thank you, Paul. George, I was going to ask that question for trivia time.
Well, I win.
The girl Crystal, who was her real life dad, but no, can't do that now.
Well, I mean, I won.
Well, no, we're not going to have a trivia time. No, Charlene Tilton was the blonde-haired young lady. But I remember that episode.
So you guys actually watched that awful show?
My mother, Paul, my mother, for the first time that I had ever seen, she took the phone off the hook. That's how serious she was about it. Okay, now,
Parties, man, that was the thing to do that.
well, Mom was serious. She took notes. Okay. This is normally the time when we have, trivia time. So BJ, go ahead. We're not going to do that this week, so put your cell phone away. Okay. But I do want to correct something. Last week, I made a mistake. There was an oversight in what we did, and I take this very, very seriously, recognizing the service of the veterans that served our country. And there was an oversight last week. It was just a miscommunication. So at this time, I'd like to ask one of our Rotarians, Denise Miller, if she can come on up here. She's rolling her eyes back there. Let's have a big hand for Denise. Denise, I want to go ahead and apologize to you for not recognizing you. Denise is wearing a poppy pin.
I did get the poppy pin.
She did get that, okay? Denise served for 13 years in the United States Navy.
Wow.
She was an intelligence specialist. She was a petty officer first class. And she was I can't read my writing.
I was in Korea, Japan.
Oh, yeah, you were stationed in Korea, Japan, and you visited Australia, India, Sri Lanka, and Malaysia all in 1 year. And she told me earlier that she really, really loved the Navy and probably would have stayed in, but she had a little boy and she had to put family first. But Denise, all kidding aside, we thank you for your service to our country. We thank all of our veterans. Okay, now Rotary business. Tyler Rotary Foundation projects need to be funded by December 1st. We need your help. Donations of any size are welcome and appreciated. Guatemala Hospital project needs $3,025. The Camp V Kitchen project needs a little over $4,500 to finish the project. On December the 9th, we have Christmas at the Cruise. And the cost is $40 per person. We're having appetizers. Are we having the same folks come out this time, Donna? Yeah. Well, they had this green avocado sauce that was just great. I love that stuff. But they're going to have the appetizers, beer, wine, tea, water, register, prepaid by December 2nd. And the Rotary Club's in Tyler Christmas Parade. Volunteers are needed. If you want to volunteer, you talk to that woman right there, Dixie Walker.
Isn't there a sign-up sheet?
I don't know.
It should have a sign. We really need volunteers.
Yes, we do.
All right, okay.
It's a struggle bus, to use Holly's term.
Okay, anybody know who the speaker for next week is?
Thanksgiving.
That's right, nobody. It's a trick question, y'all got it, okay? So, to introduce this week's speaker, I want to invite up the biggest troublemaker perhaps in this club, Dixie Walker, to come forward and introduce our speaker. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Dixie Walker.
Sorry.
I feel sorry for Rick. I'm just saying that.
So the other day, Allison asked me if I would be here at Rotary and then asked me if I could introduce Dr. Nichols. And I said, sure. I said, just send me the bio. Now, this was all in an email, but I know he died laughing and emailed back. He said, well, if I get one, I will. So I'm going to make something up. I've known him obviously ever since I've been in the club, so that's 5 years, I guess, now. And I was taught growing up that your actions speak louder than your words. So I decided I would use that parameter to introduce him. One of the things that I have learned, and also I've overheard some people talk about him, so I'm going to count that too. I believe that his number one priority in his life is his God and the love of Jesus. I think that from what I can tell, he was a marvelous husband. Have no idea if he was a good father or not. I don't even know if he has kids. One, okay. He's a dentist, and he sold his practice. And if anything's wrong, let me know. He sold his practice, but still practices dentistry. I still haven't figured out how you can get a license when you're still practicing, but I guess he's figured it out. But anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. David Nichols, our wonderful Rotarian, to speak to us today.
All right, I'm going to try to make this semi-interesting. I'm among friends and a couple of strangers. So the strangers, y'all come up, introduce yourself afterwards, okay? The program today is going to be divided into 3 sections. I'll move fast, so we'll get through if I missed one. First one's going to be just a quickie about my mission activity in Belize and somewhat Guatemala, just to show you, because y'all, our club and Sunrise Club, even South Tower 1 year, participated in this. So I'll give you a little glimpse of that, okay? Second thing is the Bethesda Clinic, as you know, I'm very active in, and you've also given money and support to our program at Bethesda. I'm listening to some music.
I know.
Anyway, Kathy's gonna help figure out how to get music on here too. Is it gonna work?
Yes, sir, it will.
Because we're gonna play some videos too as well. So we're gonna do a little bit with Bethesda, and then I want to take you to a trip I just got back on 2 or 3 days ago. You're gonna like that, I think. I'm gonna involve you a little bit, because I'm gonna tell you anybody could go on a trip like this. You don't have to be a trained mission person to go on a mission trip. Y'all know that, don't you? All you have to do is be kind of like you. You know, just put your arms around people, hug people, that makes you a missionary, because people need that. People need to be recognized. They need your eye contact. They need you to just give what you have to give. In my case, I can do dentistry, so I'm more valuable than most of y'all. On the belief side of it, y'all can see up here, that bottom section where it says Toledo, I've been to at least 16 of the 20 villages down there over 43 years. So it's 75 times. And that's because that's been a bit of interest. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Just keep going. Okay. I want you to look at this for just a minute, because you see where Belize is right here. That's where we work, that little blue area. It just goes out from there. We've gone into Guatemala, we've gone close to Honduras, but when you're thinking about all the migrants, the alien, illegal aliens, some people have called them, but the people migrating from this part of the world to Texas and somewhat elsewhere, they come up from El Salvador right here, they come right up through Guatemala and go up to Texas. Same thing in Honduras. The people we saw were mainly from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And there's reasons, and we'll get to that, and I'll try to save some time for questions and answers. I interviewed dozens of people. I didn't just work on them, because working on them is just something you do. You use that as an excuse to get to know people. An excuse to say, tell me about your life. I want to hear about your life. I want to hear what it's like walking through Mexico and taking 3 weeks to do it. What happened halfway, and so forth. So we did all that. We had 23 of us from Tyler, take 3 vans. We married the Methodist, the Baptist, and the non-denominations together from YWAM, and had one big 23-person group. We met up down there. Next slide. That's my little house in Belize. We built that about almost 20 years ago now, and we've re-roofed it twice. But other Indians live a little bit like that, but not that nice. They have mud floors. We put ours with wood on the bottom, and we built a little section so we could sleep 14 people in there. Had a little toilet, cold water shower. No electricity in the jungle. You don't have electricity back there near Guatemala border. So we would go and stay there. And has anybody in here been with me to any of these trips? No, sometimes I have. I don't even recognize them. Anyway, we go in there and we have our meals there. The Indians cook for us. It's a real good experience. Go live like they live. So we do that. Next slide. And Barry Jones and Joe Dobbs. Joe was a member of this club at one time. And then she and Barry are the most active in the Sunrise Rotary Club. And they are my most important friends in this effort, because they have organized trips that we go on. Next slide. Sometimes you go down there and just find out what's wrong with them. You see that little girl got a swollen jaw. I'm trying to make friends with her because she wasn't sure she wanted to go to the dentist. I think she needed to, just Bill. Anyway, they carry their kids through that. You're doing good. Now I'm going to show a little video just to show you that was taken 3.5 years ago right here. Dr. Wade Barker is a great oral surgeon over here with Southern Arts right now. Get some music on there if you can.
I'm good. I'm going to do it.
That's it. You got it. That's it. Not much music we didn't do. Anyway, she's going to get it going. Just if it doesn't play music, that's okay. There you go. We go back in the bush where the Tamos River is. I swear I got immersed. The Church of Christ friends thought I wasn't a Christian because I've been sprinkled. So I immersed in there so they would be happy with me. There's the tilapia farm. You see the tilapia? Not just a little one, 7 of those. Growing plants back there. We get with the people there. By the way, that's a school that this Rotary Club helped form. Okay. The pastor of the Baptist Church, dermatologist that works on people, and Joe Dawes would get them really generated. What's this? She had to check the directory and knew who she was. We love to just be with the people. So when we go, we just jump in there with them. Okay. This is a slide for Bethesda. I want you to watch this for just a minute, because y'all have given up to $4,000 recently. We spent it all, by the way, already. But we work with 6 recovery homes. They're rehab retreats over Kilgore. That's for, they call it sex trafficking women. Then there's Calvary Commission. That's prisoners that come right out of prison. Then there's Sunshine Lighthouse. There's Highway 80. There's Camp V. You'll see a little bit of this. This is going to just show you 2 of them.
This is the one we couldn't get to go.
You can get them. He's trying to. There you go.
We just had to wait.
That's it. This is Bethesda Clinic. Can you read it?
It's not, it's the Wi-Fi.
This is a Wi-Fi.
I like this video.
Now, hold on.
We went to her house yesterday to get this thing. I said, I don't know how to work it.
And
I
I'm
said,
on that
Kate,
one
you
too,
can't
and
get
if I
around to
jump
be able to
off,
see anything.
Huh?
So we thought we had it working, so we were trying.
I'll let you post that on the website somewhere, maybe.
If, David, can you excerpt that video?
I
and
don't know
can-
anything about what excerpt video means. I don't know how to work this iPhone. What are you talking about?
Well,
That's why he's got me.
I know, maybe you can help me figure it out.
Well, I want to get that video of our trip. If we don't get that, we're in real trouble. That's
No,
kind
we
of-
got it because it doesn't come from the internet, does it?
I don't know.
No, I
Why do they ask me questions about internet? What is a Wi-Fi? Is that the- Okay. All right, we'll try to move forward if we can. Let's just, I want to just tell you, stop for a minute while you see this pretty lady. The video was a good one, and it showed that, and it even said the Rotary Club paid for it. I think that's why she's going to do that. It was along the way. So if we don't ever get it, we won't. But let me just tell you this, when the people come into Bethesda, some of them are really in bad shape. This woman actually showed up at Margaret Methodist Church at a fundraiser for her, where she just entered. And I saw her and I said, I can't let you be in public. You got to come to my office. So she came to my office the next day, or the first day we were there. And I said, I looked in her mouth. She let me take this picture and said I could do it, by the way. And she had 32 abscess teeth. I never have seen that many abscess teeth in one person's mouth. But when you get on methamphetamine real deep, you don't know you got the abscess teeth. You don't know you have them. You don't know your teeth are looking bad because you're drugged. And I can tell you, I know a lot of good drugs. Give them out. No, okay, anyway. See the left picture? Just look at this. See her eyes? Look at her eyes. Forget her teeth. Look at her eyes. Do they look healthy?
Yeah.
No. No, shut up. They don't look healthy.
Well, the right does.
That's right.
Yeah.
Over here they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Good, George. Now she's got, let me just tell you something neat. Charles Stone. Thank you.
You're right.
This was right at noon. You can take a picture of it. I took that picture, sent it to Charles. I said, Charles, he responded back, I gotta get 32 teeth out quick. He said, send her over. Went from my office to his office. He emailed back, I'll take them out tomorrow. All 32, if you'll make the denture. And that's what happened to her. So she had all 32 taken out the very next day, and that's the result. I told her she could no longer do the bad habit thing she had before, or I wouldn't make the denture.
So what's the time difference between those two pictures?
About 2 months. 2 months.
Look how much brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's just a new person. And she's married now and having a happy life. I love to follow through with some of these. Next slide, we'll never get through. Okay, and that's just a typical case that comes to Bethesda. That's not unusual. Y'all just don't have your teeth look that bad. But anyway, next slide. And we make them look like that. And so that's why we support Bethesda. Now you got your Bethesda deal. Next slide. And Dr. Holland is the main dentist down there. Sometimes he helps people, they want to take him home with him. He wasn't ready for that yet. Okay, next slide. This is see if that'll work with the video. Come on, Kathy.
See, it's thinking about it.
Well, that is one thing about computers and so forth. You can move from one location to another. They work in my house, they don't work here. I don't understand that. Y'all
Well,
understand?
it's because of the Wi-Fi.
and I'm on it too.
Well, let me just tell you about that. This was Kent
Wait.
Boy Scouts.
This is Kent and that is Dr. Wilson, Dr. Stephanie Wilson. She is the second full-time dentist at Bethesda now. And Dr. Wilson is, her husband's a urologist now, with the urology group here. But she has come and she's full-time. And so we did the Camp V people, and there's one guy on there, BM, you were at that fundraiser, weren't you? Tell them about what happened to that fundraiser with that one boy that I did his front teeth.
Oh, fabulous.
I'm glad to get a compliment for that.
Okay, look.
What?
Maybe.
To know your own tricks.
Go to the next slide. Those are, anyway, it tells you the Rotary paid for the money there. I'm trying to give you all some credit here, but it just doesn't get there. They all volunteer. These are two paid, full-time paid, those are part-time paid, but for these events, they don't charge, and we all get as many volunteer dentists as we think we need, and we work on them. It's a really good project. We do 6 of those a year. Next slide. That's the guy right there, and he looked a lot better at the deal of the night. Then how much money did we get for his cake? $15,000. Because he told the story beautifully, about how it changed his life. So dentistry does have some value. Next slide. Okay, and that's the rehab retreat ladies, right there. We just get in there and we get them all down there, and we just do all the dentistry we can on them as soon as we can. Next slide. That's where now I'm gonna tell you about our trip last week. We went down there with 3 vans, Marvin Methodist van, First Baptist van, Pike, anybody in First Baptist here? Pike was with us. And it's always fun to have a real preacher with us, doesn't it? The people from down south, all the way from South America up through all this, all the way to Costa Rica, used to keep coming. They come up there like I showed you a while ago, and they end up here more than any other place. The reason is the highways come up here. Matamoros doesn't take them in as well. They have all of these places in here. This is a new nation. This is what I call the Valley, and it's 50% undocumented that live in the United States. Not 10%, 50% estimated. And we work with them. La Jolla, where you watch Fox News show the pictures, that's where that is. And we went there. And so, next slide. Now I want this to show. Make this show. Listen, this was taken by a drone from a lady who's my dental assistant. It's on. Don't worry, just leave that on. That's not easy.
Oh, that is.
It's going. I mean, that's enough noise. If you try to do that, you'll mess it up, being Kathy. This is the border taken 4 months ago. So watch this. We went to this border 4 days ago, very similar to this. They're volunteering to turn themselves in. The border control people are wonderful people, 200 of them. You're going to get to see one of them who we had dinner with, and he's a 15-year veteran. They take care of the people. They don't have time to stop the criminals because they're taking care of people. That little girl right there was taken out because she was social. Had to put her in the truck and take her to the customs themselves. I'm telling you, the heart beats.
Is the railroad track to the border?
No, that's not the border. It's way inside, 2 miles inside. The river's right over there. If you just seen it a while ago, you'd have seen the wall. They come walking in. They've been walking a long way. See, they're just people like us. They're not some weird farmers. This is in Reynosa where we went. There's about 400 something people living there now. We went last Wednesday. It was 1,000. And churches provide all of the comfort. The churches from over in Texas provide all the comfort in Mexico. And they live in squalor because that's the best you can do. There's no plumbing. There's no. And they live in here like this. We walked among them, but it was twice as full when we were there just last week. This will be pretty short. The lady who did this with her drone is one of our full-time workers down there. She was my dental assistant when I did that. Now, the government doesn't let us do that anymore because we can show anything we wanted to. Our government won't let us do it. I'm saying Mexico don't care less. By the way, the cartels rule Mexico, and they have great influence in our country. They pay off people in our country, and they do what they want to do here too. Even in Tyler, Texas, on Highway 64, you know where they drop the girls off at the top of the joint out there, from down here. So if you don't know it's not happening, it's happening. But we don't do anything about it. We just want to be kind of eat our meals and enjoy ourselves. I'm not knocking what we're doing. I'm just saying that's what we do. Okay, you saw where it ended up. Next slide. That's what one of those highway patrol boats looks like. Got four machine gun nests on it, so they can do some rough treatment if they need to. Next slide. By the way, this is the trip, not this trip. This is the first one I went on 4 months ago, and Dr. McDaniel was the head orthopedic surgeon for Mercy Ship for over 10 years. He went, and then this lady was a physician in Colorado, came with us, and an old dentist. And that's down there where now they have a park of all COVID patients. So we couldn't go back there on this trip. Next slide. That's on the river. That's what the wall looks like. That's the Trump wall. Next, just keep it going. That's a good looking guy looking at the Trump wall. Anyway, that's where they stopped it. When Biden got elected, boom. Now I'll tell you this. This is my political statement. They love Trump. They did. They love the wall going up. I'm talking about even people there. They liked the wall because it said stop. Biden stopped it. And they just flowed in like crazy. Next.
60 feet down, you got Aggies trying to go over the top.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. I don't have the slide, but I took it. It's on here somewhere. John English, the physician that went with us, found the rope slide hidden back in the cartel and hid it. You could throw it away up and hook it, and you could climb the wall. And we stole it and brought it back to our camp. Next slide. Catholic Charities is like that, packed full. We were going to work there. They shut it down 3 weeks ago. I don't know why. We went back and asked them. They said the government tells us what to do. We just have to do it. Okay, that's the dental clinic we had there, and we would interview everybody that came up there. Next slide. Hurry. All right, and then that's the lady working. We wore those kind of scrubs. Next. There's a typical person, not typical, but that woman and her husband had dived through a window and broken rectum. She'd been walking for 2 weeks with a t-shirt wrapped around her head, granulated in. Anyway, they treated her, and she was happier when she gets a little medical treatment. The lady doctor did that. Next, keep going. They have lots of food and clothes. Next slide. I want you to watch this. This is last week. Just watch it and watch the faces. We're going across the border into Mexico. Just trying to get some music with it. See, it's getting more crowded than the one you saw on the drone. Now we're just taking our own pictures. This is video taken by us. That's good. We pulled our vans up, 3 vans. We pulled our 3 vans up. We set a medical clinic up. We brought toys. We brought hygiene kits, washing materials. We brought clothes, and we brought barbers. So you're going to see a little bit of everything here. And Dennis walking around talking to people. And it shows his stomach. See the little girl's face? That's Becky. Yeah, that's Becky, bilingual nurse, Dr. English, always from Bethesda. We took a crowd from there. This is just out on the street. Now we're giving kids dolls and whatever we could to make them. It's kids like us, they want some happiness in their life. They are living in squalor. None of them have a bed, not one bed for 1,000 people. Watch what's happening. They're praying. This woman's husband had been murdered 3 weeks before, and that was her daddy. The cartel had murdered him, and that's why they were up here. Many of them have been raped. We talked to one after another. That's what's going on with all trauma. We're talking about their life, and we're expressing our love for them. Lots of prayer. There's our vans over there where we're working the medical clinic. Somebody asked us if there's COVID, probably. But we don't test it. Watch this little girl. They're friends, just like little girl friends with me, friends here. We'll get there on time, almost. Feel sorry for that little girl, so you get it. That little girl made me cry twice. Now we left there and went to Grace Church. The churches on this side are doing wonderful things. There's 2 big churches. This is one of them. They have their own food bank and their own Meals on Wheels. Their church does. And they're getting shipped in by truckloads. This is us doing appointments were made from colonials as non-documented people that are just what you saw earlier. They're now living on this side. And so they're dressed better and they're cleaner and they're coming over here, Dr. English, and they're working. That's this is Brittany's husband. Those of you go to market now. He was my bus driver. Some YWAM people are with us. That's Danny LaSalle. She's head of nursing work. She's the one that organized the trip on me. And so we come here and set up just minor treatment, but you catch the things and help them out, give some medicine out, and so forth. Got my own little dental clinic. We can take everything you need to drill and teach, just like in our own office. Have a compressor and everything there. And that's what this is all about right here. Jennifer is a full-time. This lady is special here. I'll show you in a minute. Dr. Holland. Work with the kids, play with the kids. This woman didn't know she's gonna have to have her hair cut off. I think she let it get done with this. Whoa! They had a food bank outside. We ended up helping with that. People, well-to-do people in the valley would drive up in their cars, load up in the back like Meals on Wheels, and they knew where they were going. These people live all through the valley. Nearly done, Bill. I gotta tell you, these are just volunteers like us. And he's praying for her before she takes it off. We pray with at least 100 people a day, whatever we can do to make their life better. There you go, next slide. Now these are just 3 or 4 slides. See, we took our vans down, lined, those are some of us volunteers, next slide. Had a good time in the van, next slide. That just shows you what it's like. Incredible. How many of you know about Doctors Without Borders? They were there. We were more fun. Okay, next slide. That's a school. I gave out toothbrushes to everybody. We gave out toys to everybody. We had fun with them. Next slide. Yeah, speaking Spanish to them, we got to do that. See how the stuff, we're giving them everything we could. Everything we could give them, we give them, because that's the only thing they get anything. Next slide. Nearly done. And I had I called him Jose down there. He's Henry back in the office. But Henry has a squirter. I could squirt water. It was hot down there the first day, so I squirted every kid I could. When they looked at his mouth, boy, they glass of water, they loved it. And this guy right here, we're nearly done. He is one of the head Border Patrol people. His aunt works for Bethesda, so we got it to come to us. Now keep going. You can see we got after the restaurant, we got out back and started asking him every question we ever thought about what's going on at the border. And he told us. Next slide. Oh, next slide. That's with it. That's Senator Cruz and the several congressmen chose him to be with him because he was the most experienced one. Next slide. And there we are with Pike praying for him. And now we're just let you know we're developing it. Probably $500 to $800 a person. We're going to do 200 kits for these Border Patrol people. Everybody wants to help people. Well, the Border Patrol, they're working their tails off down there. And you know, we asked him, what do you think about all these criminals, all these bad people coming in here smuggling drugs? He said, they are, because we have to take care of the people. We can't hardly go get them. We're taking care of wonderful people who are at the border. And we are shipping them up through the country. Next slide. John English went to one of those places. Remember where they come across the border? See their legs right there? And we were just handing out water. We got there before the Border Patrol did. And we just met with them, talked with them, put our arms around them. You know, it's not like it's something in a movie setting. Next slide. And that's what their feet look like when they're trying to get through the river. Next slide. We're not done. We have fun. See all those people down there? We're down there. Next slide. Everybody's having a big time. Next slide. She looked at my face. She had 3 children. She lost her husband. She looks great, right? Beautiful. But she's lived on this side. And she needs help. Where do I go? I said, do you go to church anywhere? No, I'm not a Christian. I said, do you know Jesus? She said, no. Have y'all ever had anybody ask you that? You're asking, do you know Jesus? What would you say? She said, no. Well, I'll tell you what, that's time to be bold and tell them who Jesus is. So I gave her the gospel clearly, asked her about her life, gave her the gospel, and she said, I want to know Jesus. And we prayed the sinner's prayer. She prayed it. And next thing I know, I look up and I had 5 YWAM girls behind me praying for this girl. Well, I didn't even know they were back there. So we got her in touch with the pastor of the church. We now have her in church. We're taking care of her kids. And it all stopped because I got to fill her too. Next slide. And we're going back there next year probably. You can see some of our group there. That's an interesting place. Too long to tell you more about it. Next slide, we're about done. And so we get in these vans to go down there. It's a 9-hour drive on the river fly. Next slide. Okay, so you see see Pike. Can you tell Pike's having a good time? All right. Thank you all for letting me give you this program because it was an exciting trip for us.
I'm getting ready to give you your certificate. Come on over here, man. You know, I was talking with some folks at my table earlier about a guy that he's a living legend. but he and his wife gave birth to a little boy that had Down syndrome. And and I'm talking about Coach Gene Stallings, but he made a speech, gave it to, I think, a Rotary Club in Lindale. And he said, my complaining days are over with. And after you see something like this, my complaining days are truly over with. David, thank you for what you guys are doing down there. God bless you. Wonderful presentation. Kind of hard to watch, really, without, shedding a tear.
David's been doing this like 15 years.
No, 43 years.
43 years. Yeah. Another big hand for Dr. David Nichols, ladies and gentlemen, please.
I got through in time. You have a question? Anybody have an important question? I know we let you do it if you needed one. But just to let you know that people do have hearts. In the Rotary, that we're service above self. So we put it into action, not just say it. Right? And you know how you can put it in action? You just say, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Dad. That's right.
That's all you have to do.
Tell you what, this is kind of an appropriate program to have right before Thanksgiving. You know, it's worked out well. Okay, so it's now time for the Ace of Diamonds Award. JB, how much we got in the pot this week?
I can't read it. I got too much water in my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
David's one of my personal heroes.
But I did cry while I was down there a few times.
Tell you what,
We got $949.41
Wow.
cards.
$949.
Okay, would you
Oh, yes.
just
This is the
make
one.
up the numbers?
The number is 94362. No. 332.
332. Who has
332.
332? Who has that?
The benefactor, the club.
Okay.
Oh,
Can she do it? Can she do it?
Nope.
Oh, too bad. Well, okay. Well, again, everyone, I want to take this opportunity to just wish you and your family a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. And now I'd like to ask everyone to stand and let us recite the 4-way test of the things that we think, say, or do as Rotarians. First. Second. Third. Fourth. And we are adjourned. Always